Good morning, philosophers. Hope you're doing well today. All right, heads up. If you're listening to this series on a daily basis, if you are one of the people that enjoy this series of videos, I am moving this series of videos off of this YouTube channel to a new YouTube channel. Why am I doing this? Because this type of content is very different from the normal type of disenthrall content. And that's typically not really a good thing because the audience that I've built up over the years probably enjoys one type of content, and the view numbers on these videos that we've been doing, the think times, are showing that the majority of the disenthrall audience isn't really into them. But I am, and you guys, if you're listening to this, probably are. So I'm going to continue doing these. I'm just going to separate them out from the disenthrall channel so that the people that like them will get the notifications, and the people that don't won't. And the people that like the disenthrall content can still get the disenthrall notifications. And hopefully that channel can continue growing without worrying about turning a certain audience off with this more nerdy stuff. So if you are interested in these morning think time videos, make sure as soon as this stream is over, I couldn't do it before because when I do these morning streams, I don't pre-create the streams. So the link is not in the description yet, but as soon as this stream is over, I'm going to go back and edit the description and add links to it. You can find it on Odyssey under the channel name Think Time. It's got a little thinker guy as the logo. You can find this. You might be able to search for it on YouTube. I don't know. I assume there's other people that might already have channel names similar to it. So if you can't find it easily on YouTube, just wait, and I will put a link in the description as soon as the stream is over. So if you enjoy these videos, you will find them on a different YouTube and a different Odyssey channel starting tomorrow. This is going to be the last video. In fact, I'm going to move the existing Think Time videos from this channel to that channel. This will be the last Think Time video on the Disenthrall channel. So I'm not sure if I will continue doing them on Facebook or Periscope under the Disenthrall channel. You guys can let me know if you would prefer me to do that. Otherwise, they will only exist on YouTube and Odyssey going forward. Thanks for participating. For those of you listening, thanks for participating in this new type of content experiment. It seems like most people don't really care for it, but the people that do care for it and listen really enjoy it. And I really enjoy it. I do this anyway on my own, so of course I really enjoy it. So, yeah, that's the plan. Now let's get into it. We are going to finish book 11 and begin book 12, which I believe, is the last book in this book. Let's go. 26. This advice from Epicurean writings: to think continually of one of the men who lived men of old. We're starting off rough again. This advice from Epicurean writings: to think continually of one of the men of old who lived a virtuous life. 27. Pythagoreans tell us to look at the stars at daybreak, to remind ourselves how they complete the tasks assigned to them, always the same tasks the same way, and their order, purity, nakedness. Stars wear no concealment. I think he's telling us to go to work naked. Confirmed. 28. Socrates dressed in a towel. The time Xanthippe took his coat and went out. The friends who were embarrassed and avoided him when they saw him dressed like that, and what Socrates said to them. Well, that's like one of those social media posts without context. He refers to an event that we don't know about. That's kind of annoying. Stop trolling us from the grave, Marcus. 29. Mastery of reading and writing requires a master. Still more so, life. 30. That's interesting. Like you need a coach to improve. To become a master, you need to study under a master. Still more so, life. So what master of life are you trying to study under? That's interesting to think about. 30. For you are but a slave and have no claim to logos. 31. But this is another quote. Quote, but my heart rejoiced. 32. Quote, and jeer at virtue with their taunts and sneers. 33. Stupidity is expecting figs in winter or children in old age. 34. As you kiss your son goodnight, says Epictetus, whisper to yourself, quote, he may be dead in the morning. Jesus. Don't tempt fate, you say. By talking about a natural event, is fate tempted when we speak of grain being reaped? 35. Grapes, unripe, ripened, then raisins, constant transitions. Not the not, but the not yet. 36. No thefts of free will reported. Oh, that was a quote. Quote, no thefts of free will reported. Epictetus. 37. We need to master the art of acquiescence. We need to pay attention to our impulses, making sure they don't go unmoderated, that they benefit others, that they're worthy of us. We need to steer clear of desire in any form and not try to avoid what's beyond our control. 38. Quote, this is not a debate about just anything, he said, but about sanity itself. 39. Socrates. What do you want, rational minds or irrational ones? Rational ones. Healthy or sick? Healthy. Then work to obtain them. We already have. Then why all this squabbling? Book 12. Number 1. Everything you're trying to reach by taking the long way round, you could have right now, this moment, if you'd only stop thwarting your own attempts, if you'd only let go of the past and trust the future to providence, and guide the present toward reverence and justice. Reverence, so you'll accept what you're allotted. Nature intended it for you, and you for it. Justice, so that you'll speak the truth, frankly and without evasions, and act as you should, and as other people deserve. Don't let anything deter you. Other people's misbehavior, your own misperceptions, what people will say, or the feelings of the body that covers you. Let the affected part take care of those. And if, when it's time to depart, you shunt everything aside except your mind and the divinity within, if it isn't ceasing to live that you're afraid of, but never beginning to live properly, then you'll be worthy of the world that made you. No longer an alien in your own land, no longer shocked by everyday events as if they are unheard of aberrations. No longer at the mercy of this or that. Number 2. God sees all our souls freed from their fleshly containers, stripped clean of their bark, cleansed of their grime. He grasps with his intelligence alone what was poured and channeled from himself into them. If you learn to do the same, you can avoid a great deal of distress. When you see through the flesh that covers you, will you be unsettled by clothing, mansions, celebrity, the painted sets, the costume cupboard? Number 3. Your 3 components, body, breath, mind. 2 are yours in trust, to the 3rd alone you have clear title. If you can cut yourself, your mind, free of what other people do and say, of what you've said or done, of the things that you're afraid will happen, the impositions of the body that contains you and the breath within, and what the whirling chaos sweeps in from outside, so that the mind is freed from fate, brought to clarity, and lives life on its own recognizance, doing what is right, accepting what happens, and speaking the truth. If you can cut free of impressions that cling to the mind, free of the future and the past, can make yourself as Empedocles says, quote, a sphere rejoicing in its perfect stillness, and concentrate on living what can be lived, which means the present. Then you can spend the time you have left in tranquility, and in kindness, and at peace with the spirit within you. Number 4. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. If a God appeared to us, or a wise human being even, and prohibited us from concealing our thoughts or imagining anything without immediately shouting it out, we wouldn't make it through a single day. That's how much we value other people's opinions instead of our own. Number 5. How is it that the gods arranged everything with such skill, such care for our well-being, and somehow overlooked one thing, that certain people, in fact the best of them, the gods' own partners, the ones whose piety and good works brought them closest to the divine, that these people, when they die, should cease to exist forever, utterly vanished. Well, assuming that's really true, you can be sure they would have arranged things differently, if that had been appropriate. If it were the right thing to do, they could have done it, and if it were natural, nature would have demanded it. So, from the fact that they didn't, if that's the case, we can conclude that it was inappropriate. Surely you can see yourself that to ask the question is to challenge the gods' fairness. And why would you be bringing in fairness unless the gods are in fact fair, and absolutely so? And if they are, how could they have carelessly overlooked something so unfair, so illogical in setting up the world? 6. Practice even what seems impossible. The left hand is useless at almost everything for lack of practice, but it guides the reins better than the right from practice. 7. The condition of soul and body when death comes for us, shortness of life, vastness of time before and after, fragility of matter. 8. To see the causes of things stripped bare, the aim of actions, pain, pleasure, death, fame. Who is responsible for our own restlessness? That no one obstructs us. That it's all in how you perceive it. 9. The student as boxer, not fencer. The fencer's weapon is picked up and put down again. The boxer's is part of him. All he has to do is clench his fist. 10. To see things as they are, substance, cause, and purpose. 11. The freedom to do only what God wants and accept whatever God sends us. 11a. What it's made of. 12. The gods are not to blame. They do nothing wrong on purpose or by accident. Nor men either. They don't do it on purpose. No one is to blame. 13. The foolishness of people who are surprised by anything that happens, like travelers amazed at foreign customs. 14. Fatal necessity and inescapable order, or benevolent providence, or confusion, random and undirected. If it's an inescapable necessity, why resist it? If it's providence and admits of being worshipped, then try to be worthy of God's aid. If it's confusion and anarchy, then be grateful that on this raging sea you have a mind to guide you. And if the storm should carry you away, let it carry off flesh, breath, and all the rest, but not the mind, which can't be swept away. 15. The lamp shines until it's put out, without losing its gleam, and yet in you it all gutters out so early, truth, justice, and self-control. 16. When someone seems to have injured you, but how can I be sure, and in any case keep in mind, that he's already been tried and convicted by himself, like scratching your own eyes out? That to expect a bad person not to harm others is like expecting fig trees not to secrete juice, babies not to cry, horses not to neigh, the inevitable not to happen. What else could they do with that sort of character? If you're still hungry, then get to work on that. All right, I'm going to stop a little early today. I think we only have like maybe 1 or 2 days, maybe 1 day left on this book. As I sort of come to the close of, reading the Plato and now reading Meditations, I always kind of go through this review of Stoicism in general. In this case, it's a question for today. Do I align close enough with the core tenets of Stoicism to call myself one? Why or why not? I think the answer to that for me is no. I would not call myself a Stoic. I think I disagree with too many of the core tenets of Stoicism. I think there's some flaws in the core that are undeniable, and I look forward to talking to that expert in Stoicism about them. Some of them would be the belief in the spirit world. Those beliefs about the spirit world change their perceptions about what the proper way is to value and respect and live life now. They sort of devalue life and the time alive. They try to be emotionally okay with death, which I guess is a useful thing for sure. but I think they go too far in that way. There's so much good practical advice, though. Like I certainly pick and choose which parts of Stoicism that I really respect and appreciate and incorporate into my life and daily thinking, and even my daily habits are, have some essence of Stoicism built in them. And I've certainly spent the last 2 months talking about them, especially the good stuff. But I think also as we've gone through these books, you've heard me talk through my disagreements with some of the problems. I think if we could somehow assimilate the best parts of Stoicism with the best parts of Ayn Rand's objectivism, I think we'd have a really useful system for living. But an objectivist would tell you that the two are incompatible because Stoicism is very deterministic. It sort of denies free will to a large extent. It's kind of contradictory in that way, right? It'll tell you that you have to not apply judgments to things in an attempt to be less harmed emotionally by the events that occur. It tells you to accept reality for what it is, which is useful and healthy. But an objectivist who is, staunchly against any kind of determinism or lack of free will or limitation of human free will would be opposed to a lot of the core tenets of Stoicism. So yeah, there's problems with both, and there's very good life advice and practical advice from both. And this is what's good about living, is like we get a chance to examine these very deep thoughts, find what is useful and what's great about them, take those things, leave the rest. Like, we don't have to commit. It's not a religion. We can say, oh, you're right about that. That's good stuff. I like that. I'm going to use that. And, oh, that's dumb. that's mysticism, or that's old science that's been disproved 1,000 years ago or whatever. We can leave that. And we can do that without being emotional about it. It's not like we have to love or hate Stoicism. It's not like we have to be all in or all out. It's not like we have to be a Stoicist or not, or an anti-Stoicist. We can take the good and leave the bad and move on with life to the next thing. Those are my thoughts for today. Okay, one more reminder. I have been publishing these videos to YouTube, to Odyssey, and to SoundCloud on the Disenthrall channels. Going forward, starting tomorrow, these videos will not be posted to YouTube, to the Disenthrall YouTube. They will be posted to a new YouTube channel called Think Time. And as soon as this stream is over, I will put a link in the description and pin it in the comments of this video. These videos will no longer be posted to the Disenthrall Odyssey channel. They will be posted to a new Odyssey channel named Think Time. And I will put a link to that in the description of both as well. SoundCloud. SoundCloud charges over $100 a year, I think, for the Pro account. I am not going to pay another $100 for a separate account to upload these to a new SoundCloud account. So these audio recordings, if you are listening to them on SoundCloud, you can expect to continue to listen to them on SoundCloud. That is the plan for these videos. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're enjoying them, thumbs it up, let me know. I will catch you guys next time. Have a great day.